Hey everybody, Athens Politics Nerd here. I'm going to be taking this week off, but I went to a great Federation of Neighborhoods meeting last night, and I thought I would post the audio from that as my video this week. I thought it was a great discussion. This is the kind of honest dialogue we're going to have and have more of as a community as our town moves forward. If you want to see what questions were asked of the panel, you can read those in the description. I put the timestamps for each question so you can skip ahead to only those that interest you if you like. Thanks to the Federation of Neighborhoods for hosting and for letting me use their photos. My next video will be about fare-free public transportation, and I'll post that on Thursday, February 21st. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome to the February Federation of Neighborhoods Meet Your New Mayor and Commissioners Forum. We're really excited to have it here tonight. How many of you, this is your first Federation of Neighborhoods Forum? Raise your hand. Awesome, welcome, welcome. The Federation of Neighborhoods is a coalition of neighborhood and citizens groups in Athens, and it's formed in the 1960s. The ACC Federation of Neighborhoods exists to study and inform neighborhood groups and citizens about local issues that affect them. Many of our members are knowledgeable about local government, and some have become involved as members of citizen boards or as elected officials. We are independent, nonpartisan, but occasionally take public stands on issues. I'm Suki Jansen. I'm the Federation of Neighborhoods president. I am tonight's moderator, which is kind of odd for me because these are my bosses. So I will say I was the last girl standing. Frances is our Frances Berry. You know Frances. She is a SPLOST citizen, a member that's listening to more project ideas tonight of the 88 projects that we have. And then also Wendy is usually here, and she has a Speak Out for Species documentary series on campus. So I was literally kind of one of the last people standing. So tonight I'm here with my non-employee hat on. So exactly, I'm just a citizen. We normally have a forum every month on the second Monday, but I do want to let you know in March, it's going to be on March 18th. So please mark your calendars, and that's because UGA and Clarke County School District has spring break on that second Monday. So we are going to move it so we get better participation. Well, tonight we are super excited to have our newly elected mayor and former commissioner, Kelly Burrs, District 1 Commissioner, Patrick Davenport, National Club here, awesome. District 2 Commissioner, Mariah Parker. Everybody has I'll get that. District 5 Commissioner Tim is in the house. He's also a former Federation Neighborhood Board member. And last but not least, District 9 Commissioner Ovita Thornton. All right, I'm going to jump right in here if you guys don't mind, and I'll ask this first question, and if you want to introduce yourself in any other capacity, I'm going to let you do it after this first question. Each of you in your own way campaign on a position that there is a need for real change, both in your district and in our wider community. And now that you are in your position, how do you plan to act on that campaign position? And what are some examples of real change you will find in Athens-Clarke County? And given this, do you see yourselves as a new voting bloc on the commission? That's the question that came in.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you. Again, my name is Kelly Burrs. I have the great honor and privilege of being your mayor here in Athens-Clarke County. And we've had a really successful first month already. We really kicked off the year laying the groundwork for exactly the kind of change and opportunity that I think was embodied in the question. We spent about a day and a half in a communication and coordination retreat in January, and we followed up just on Friday with the first 2 days of policy and budget planning for a full day on Friday. And what was great is that while there were certainly some expressions of individual interest in one area or another, and just a couple of things where there wasn't unanimity of thought, there were a great number of areas where really across all 11 of us, 10 elected commissioners and myself as mayor, there was a lot of energy and a lot of interest in concert moving in the same direction. And just briefly, there are several of us here, I think some of that was really in the area of housing opportunity, for people across the income spectrum, recognizing that in particular for people who are working hard and are not of means, we need to have greater availability of not just housing, but quality housing that's of the sort that's going to create a foundation for a successful and healthy life. There was a lot of interest in economic mobility and economic development work. The notion that there's a pipeline from early childhood all the way through adulthood that's going to ensure that, in that American dream style, you do better than your parents did, and you have increasing opportunity, and you can pass that opportunity along to your children and build wealth. There also was a lot of interest in making sure that just some of the pieces of the community that seem sort of disparate get tied together, that it's easy to get from one part of town to another, whether you live on the far east side, whether you're in far north Athens, whether you're out past the mall, or somewhere in the core of town, that you feel like you're connected to the rest of your community. And what is great, I think, kind of referenced a minute ago, is that there really was an 11-0 score on every one of those measures. The 11 elected officials interested in moving the ball forward. And I think we're at that time. We're at that time in I think, our lives. We're at that time in the life of Athens, where we've nibbled around the edges of some things for a long time. We've had community activism, maybe some individual or small group expressions from elected officials. I think certainly it's fair to say some strong pushes from staff members in Athens-Clarke County. And I think now we're really playing with a full deck and we're moving ahead. So I couldn't be more excited.
Yay! Thank you guys for being here, but I want to correct Suki on something. We are not her boss. You all are our bosses. You guys elected us. You guys keep us in office. So, you should tell me. But I'm ready for that bold, radical change within our government. We've been tiptoeing around affordable housing. We've been tiptoeing around poverty rate. But I'm ready for me and my colleague to take the seriousness of the poverty rate here in Athens. Take for seriousness the affordable housing. It's ridiculous that our economy nationally is improving, but we in Athens, our poverty rate continues to increase, as well as the affordability of our apartment. And please, somebody on the stage, correct me if I'm wrong, or in the audience, but the average cost of an apartment in Athens, is about $1,000. So if you're a single mom, or if you are a father, or if you got some kids, and you can't afford a home, you're paying in a city that doesn't pay too well, $1,000 a month just to live. That does not include your utilities and your other bills that you have to pay. So I look forward to working with my colleagues and those who are not here, and talking with some of the department heads to get them to understand the emergency that we have here in Athens-Clarke County, and how we can be, instead of looking at Austin, Texas, other cities need to look at us and say, this is how we do it. And the best way we can do it is by working together, but we need your input because you are our bosses. Let us know. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Mariah Parker, District Youth Commissioner. In my free time, I'm also a PhD student over here at the university and an educator. This afternoon, I sat down with a middle school student at Clark Middle who were taking part in a camp that I helped run last summer. And I wanted to ask her about this beautiful poem she wrote about being proud as a young black woman despite her facing racial and gender discrimination every day. She was 13 years old and showed this beautiful poem about being so proud of her identity. And I wanted to know what supported her in expressing herself so boldly and so eloquently. And she, surprisingly to me, said that choice gave her that freedom. That being asked what her opinion was liberating for her to venture out into the art of poetry and express herself and express how proud she was of who she was. And I think that one of the radical changes that Patrick described as coming to Athens is giving people more choice. Not just preventative choice, choosing how we want to stand up against things that have happened and gone wrong, but proactively choosing what we want our communities to look like and what we want Athens to look like. And I think, I ran for office because I believe in democracy. I believe we should have contested elections. I believe people should have this kind of choice. And I think we should extend those kinds of choices to more and more people in this town, including people who have previously been incarcerated, including people who are low income and might face barriers to heading down to the polling place and casting their vote for decisions that are going to be coming down the chain to us as commissioners and ultimately limiting or freeing us to do the kinds of work they want us to do. And I think that in all of the work that we do as commissioners in affecting bold changes in Athens, it has to be done with the oversight of you. And so everywhere we can, ensuring that we have more public participation in our decision-making processes, whether it be a criminal justice coordinating committee to provide insight and oversight into the policies of our police department, whether it be the SPLOST process we're going through currently, and the Citizens Advisory Committee's input into what we're going to spend these tens and hundreds of millions of dollars on in our town in the next 10 years. I can't echo enough what my colleague Patrick said, that it's your choice, and we need to be sitting here to reflect that choice when we sit down behind the rail in City Hall.
Hey everyone, I'm Tim Vinson, County Commissioner for District 5, kind of the northwest part of the county. I first wanted to jump on a little bit, the metaphor that Mayor Gertz brought up. I think it's really kind of accurate with maybe the change we're seeing here. In the past, we've had county government's been willing to nibble around the edges at some of these issues. I think it's a very correct kind of way to put it. Like, we talk about them, do them a little bit, definitely study them, nibble around the edges. And I think we have a commission now, at least I can speak for myself, Commissioner, who's willing to also take some big bites. Well, I think I don't speak for myself, but I think that we're all extremely hungry for a different kind of Athens, a different kind of community. One that has very clear priorities, that puts the priorities of all before the benefits of the individual. And I think that gets to the difficulty here. I remember during one of the debates that we had last year, Commissioner Thornton at one point, somebody said like how all these issues are very difficult. And Commissioner Thornton at one point said they're not really that difficult. You think it comes down to political will. Do you have the political will? And I think that's very true. And I think a lot of us ran on having the political will to really take on these big issues. But I think something important for us all to remember, everybody in this room, all of this whole community, is that's going to also take the political will of all of y'all. We're going to take on affordable housing. We're going to take on income equality. We're going to take on criminal justice reform. Those things are going to be difficult, and they're going to take some real hard work, but also some sacrifices from some people who already have a lot of privileges and benefits. It's not, because if it didn't take those sacrifices and it wasn't hard, we would have done it a long time ago. The reason we didn't is because it does require those sacrifices. So that's something that we're all going to lead into as a community together. I definitely had a lot of people like kind of give me high fives after the election and say like, awesome, we did it, you guys are going to do it. And I was like, hold on, we are going to do it. Don't put that on me and run off somewhere else and say, we solved this. Not at all. This is going to take a sacrifice for this whole community and work in this whole community. And we're all going to be committed to taking these big issues on. I know there's people sitting at this table already for that. I hope all of y'all are too.
I'm going to try to answer the question that nobody else answered about a voting block. I don't believe we are a voting block. I believe we are part of a big block. And I'm not trying to be politically correct and not offend nobody, but the workshop that Kelly and our city manager coordinated, we brought our differences together. Do we have solutions? No, but I saw where folk were talking that are different together. So we're kind of the newbies on the block. and we're very idealistic. Well, I'm old and young. Even though we're different, I think we're learning a lot from some of the veteran commissioners. Sometimes folk want to do the right thing, but if you don't have some encouragement for some other folk, you kind of let it pass you by. I think that the new commissioners, and I'll do like me, I think sometimes we're planting some new ideas, but we're also understanding why some things don't work and maybe we need to do it differently. So I don't see us as a floating block. I am clearly an individual at the end of the day. But I am always looking for ways to collaborate and work together for a common goal. I represent the North Athens area, going all the way out towards Nowhere Road, Danielsville Highway, 72, part of Newtown, and Pulaski. That's a lot of space. And guess what? Each one of those areas have different needs and different desires. My job in these first 90 days is to help folks know what else is going on in District 9. We have a group of people who feel as though they're the redhead stepchild. But the joy of it all, I've only been in office a little less than a month, and I'm getting calls from people who have never reached out to an elected official. And guess what? They got good news. Miss Ovita, in 18 years, no one has ever come out and cleaned my stormwater drain. Something as simple as that made my day. Miss Ovita sent me text pictures of the stormwater folk coming and cleaning the stormwater drain. That might seem very simple to everybody in here, especially if your drains are functioning and working, and you don't have to deal with that. But on the north end of town, that was a serious issue. So I'm really excited about that, and I want to do some major something. I don't know, something big in Pinewood for our Hispanic and Latino community. They're part of this community also, and often forgotten. So I'm looking for something big. And when you look at the SPLOST list of those 80 projects, you will not really see anything on there with North Athens on there or District 9. There is no hard piece of recommendation. So we've got to do better and include everybody. I had a list of things, but I think I'll stop that right here, because you may ask me and I might not answer you.
Awesome. So what I heard, I like kind of the teacher in me, is they're going to work together on some big opportunities for affordable housing connectivity, equality with greater inclusion of all Athenians, and to take some big bites into our needs of Athens. So I'm pretty excited about our new mayor and our new commissioners. And so you kind of covered my second question. I'm going to skip on to a third question that we had. The last forum that we had directors of various departments. And one overarching question that came in is about, one of you brought up criminal justice reform. And I think it might have been either Mariah, Commissioner Parker. So the question from last month that all of the directors had was, A, how many inmates do we have working in our departments? And do we pay those inmates? And here in Athens, they are unpaid labor. And the question was, do we support changing policy and or ordinances to pay inmates for labor they provide to various Athens-Clarke County departments? So I think the audience repeated that question, sent us again, because they wanted to hear your potential answers. I wasn't high enough on the totem pole to answer that question last morning, so.
Thanks, Cindy, and thanks for the series of questioners. It helps a little to know a little bit about sort of the breadth of the kind of criminal justice system and when folks get engaged in the system. For the last 4 years of my life before moving into City Hall, I work in 3 Georgia Department of Corrections prisons, supporting students who are taking high school classes there. So I spend every week talking to folks who are in prisons, spending time asking them questions about what their futures were. I talk with folks, obviously, that part of that system about the kind of continuity of activity that happened there. One of the things that happens when somebody's found guilty of a crime in Georgia is that either you're put on probation or you're sentenced to some time in incarceration. Put on probation, oftentimes that's with the expectation of some community service, either your off hours or weekends or some other point. If you're incarcerated, you may do some community service as a voluntary opportunity. Oftentimes that takes the form of work inside a correctional facility, whether that's washing dishes or doing yard work or the like. And then some folks are given the opportunity, if they are well positioned, to do work in what's called a county corrections unit. And so there's several dozen of these across the state of Georgia. And so that means you come to Clayton County or to Clarke County or to Newton County or somewhere else, and you spend time working on locks, working on small engines, doing vehicle maintenance, just doing work in buildings and the like. And that work has a direct benefit to you in that it reduces your time of prison stay. And then the next phase in the sequence of activity is a program the state runs called a transition center. And there are a few dozen of these in the state. Some of them are connected with the Department of Corrections prisons, and some of them are standalone. And in the transition center, you, after having had a good experience in your prior time in incarceration, move into a position where you're in essentially a dormitory, halfway house kind of facility, and you're going and working a job like anyone else. So there are people who work private sector and public sector jobs. What we talked about doing just in this recent autumn is expanding that transition center work here in Clarke. We've got just a few people who are in our diversion center, which has both some kind of local and some state folks doing that. We have the opportunity to say, let's make sure that when people are on the tail end of their time of incarceration, they can come back to Athens knowing that they're going to be released back to Athens, get a job, spend some time getting the social supports and the community support, the family support that you can get when you're right in the community where your family is. And so that's where I'd like us to put a lot of energy, is expanding that work so that that continuum happens, which has been demonstrated to reduce recidivism and create community benefit both for those individuals and the community at large.
And by the way, I'm Pastor Davenport, District 1, the best district in Athens. So the question was, should we allow incarcerated individuals to have free labor? Like, there are no kids in this room, and I'm going to say hell no. These people are already, the justice system has already punished them by putting them in prison. Do not degrade them by saying, okay, well, you can get out of jail or you can better yourself by going to do free labor. That's inhumane. That's slavery. That is, when Tim Denson was the one who told me about that, I got so outraged. So I'm trying to calm down right now, but that's not how we should treat our citizens. That's not how we should treat our incarcerated. Yes, they're in jail for a reason. But let's not degrade them any further by saying, okay, you can go out there and do some work, get out of prison, get some fresh air. That's great, but let's give them some dignity. Let's give them some respect to say, okay, we appreciate the effort that you're doing. We appreciate the fact that you're not behind bars and you're benefiting the community. Let me pay you something. Think about that. And I equate it to that low-wage worker who works every day with slave labor, who's not incarcerated, who get paid absolutely nothing, who goes to work every day and does a really good job to get paid minimum wage. Think about that person who made a mistake in their life, and they're just like, you know what, I made a mistake, I just want to do better. And they're not forced, they're not forced to do it, but just that sense of dignity is taken away when you say, oh, you're going to do this for free, we're not going to pay you for anything, we're going to benefit from the community. Hell no.
So So shortly after being elected and taking office, which that was a quick turnaround, I stopped by the jail. They're having a picnic. They're having hot dogs and hamburgers, their annual picnic. They're sitting out in the sunshine. And I just came out to speak to the folks who were incarcerated there. And we had a good time. And it surprised me that short little interaction, I was there for maybe 20 minutes. But every time I see those fellows around, cleaning up the landscape and otherwise, serving our community, they always say hey. They always say, hey, how you doing, Commissioner Parker? And that surprises me to no end because I realized that a simple humanizing interaction with an incarcerated person can totally change the way they feel about you and about themselves. And it's easy for me to get emotional about the criminal justice system, having had family members interact with it in negative ways, and feeling empathy for folks who find themselves caught up within it. But ultimately what we do within this government, if it be traffic, transit, if it's to do with stormwater or sewage, we take data-driven approaches to our decision-making processes. We would not build a road a certain way without looking at the number of crashes that happen on it, without looking at the number of cars that traverse it every day, because we inform our decisions based on data. And I think we should take the same approach to inmate labor within our jail system. I don't know, personally, if within Athens-Clarke County, a labor-for-free system actually reduces recidivism. I don't know if a labor-for-free system within Athens-Clarke County Jail actually costs us less money. If we're having to ultimately reincarcerate people who aren't rehabilitated by the system, we're paying more money in the long term. And currently, we just don't know. And that's unacceptable to me. While in my heart, I have seen and know that humanizing people by treating them as folks with problems that just need a leg up and need extra support in order to find the right way. While I know that's true in my heart, I also know that we need to look at the numbers. I have a really strong feeling that the numbers are going to speak for us. And that we as a government should be consistent in our approaches, be it traffic or be it human lives that are altered by their interactions with our criminal justice system.
So about 4 years ago, I went down to the county down to we were looking for a dog in my family, and I wanted to get a new dog. And we went there to talk to them. We said, we talked to the person in front of us. We would like to see the animals here. We're looking for a dog. And one was like, okay, great, yeah, sure. Let me get somebody to help you. So we're standing there at the counter, and she comes back with a man that says, I think it said Athens-Clarke County inmate on the back of the shirt. And walking over to us, and the man is standing right next to me. And the woman looks at me, acting as if he wasn't even there, looks at me and my wife, and says, so he'll walk you over, you tell him which cages you want opened, the dog, this is the dog. You're not allowed to talk to him. Don't let him have your phone. And talk to us that way as if he didn't exist. And if he did exist, it wasn't as a human being. And as we walked out, there were signs posted as we went down saying the same thing. Don't talk, don't speak in minutes, don't use your phone. And, it made me feel terrible. It made me feel terrible as an Athens-Clarke County citizen, operating something like that. So I asked the guy, what his name was, how he was doing. He was nervous. He was nervous just to talk to me. He was nervous just to tell me how his day was going. And at the same time, as a taxpayer, I'm getting savings because he's doing it rather than the person that I have to actually have my tax dollars paid to do it. To me, it's disgusting. It is immoral. And I echo Commissioner Davenport's saying of hell no. And I think it's very important to talk about the difference between this and the diversion center. Diversion is a very different thing where a person actually works somewhere and they get paid a wage and they get to keep majority abilities and to save that money. The inmate labor system we're talking about does not work that way. The state pays us, the county gets paid by the state $20 a day per inmate house. Then we get to use those inmates to do labor that otherwise would be done by county employees. So there's multiple ways you can look at this. Not only are we having people do this work and not get paid anything, but we're also taking away paying jobs, hurting our unemployment system. I'm with Patrick. I literally makes me angry. It makes me so angry that we can accept this, that we can make this, we can normalize this and say it's okay because it saves me a few cents somehow along the line. There's only 5 states still that do $0, no compensation inmate labor programs. Every one of those states is in the south of the Mason-Dixon line. Athens-Clarke County started doing this program basically in 1920 during the Jim Crow era. No big surprise. No big surprise. We should not be doing this. I will not vote for anything that has an inmate labor put into it. We should not be basing our budget upon how much money we can save by making a man do some work for us, making usually almost always a black man do some work for us and say, yo, you don't have to do this. You can sit in a jail cell instead all day. You don't have to do this. And I've heard that argument by a bunch of people saying, oh, they want to do it. They want to do it. They want to get out. They enjoy doing it. That is a lie. You can look back in 2010, the inmate labor programs across the state of Georgia threatened a strike in 2010 with five prisons following through that strike, demanding pay and better situations and better housing and better benefits for what they're doing. And all those prisons that did that were put on shutdown so that could not proceed further. So these people do not want to be doing this. Their option is to sit in a jail cell, have their freedom taken from them, or have their freedom taken from them outside while they cut the grass around a traffic circle and get nothing for it. When we talk about recidivism, it does increase. There are studies out there that show this. And the fact is, one of the biggest things that increases recidivism is the fact that they have economic instability. They have economic instability because we're making them do work and they get no money for it. And then they get out of jail and they can't vote and they can't do a lot of things because they still owe fees to the state. This is a policy that we should end now.
Okay, I'm number 3, hell no. 2. I was kind of surprised because I heard someone say it's a privilege for them. That was the word this person used, it's a privilege. Your trustees, they behave well, so they get this great privilege to go out and work, and that's what, I do know the difference between punishment and privilege. And I do know there's a punishment for behavior that society says was inappropriate or whatever it is. But we should not be compounding a problem by creating another problem. One of the things that we could look at, and I'm all about solutions. One of the things we could look into is what they call, that we used to, well, not here in Georgia, but some places have what they call individual development accounts, that you make so much, and it's usually with people on hand for welfare, but we could develop an individual development account where people actually get paid. When they get out, they have money that they have earned. Wouldn't that make better sense?
Yes.
Than just to send them back out on the street with nothing, and they're going to be breaking in your door or my door because they're in the same situation they were in before they even went to jail. We need to find solutions that will work. Has anybody ever done individual accounts for inmates? I don't know, but it's worth looking into as a solution and not a continual punishment. The other thing that I worked on in October of last year is expungement. We worked with the solicitor's office through my job, and we expunged about 27 records. One gentleman came to my house and hugged me because he was able to get a promotion at his job because his record was expunged. Some people have things in their records that have been there for over 20 and 30 years, a bad check. And if it pops up during an interview, people have lost their jobs even after they work. And the last thing I want to mention is on my Facebook page, I met a young gentleman yesterday named Kazet. He has developed, he created a GED program that he has helped 15 inmates in Clarke County Jail get their GED. Each inmate, I don't know how it works, but it was $1,000 per person. And the money went back into the program to continue. We need to have solutions, not keep passing the buck. We know we got crime. We know we're building prisons. How do we stop that if we really, really, really want to help people come back into society? We're bringing broke men back into a community with no support. Because if they're working well enough in our jail system to fit to the signs, your street signs, you know who make those signs? The inmates make those signs. What if they didn't make them? Y'all be crashing all over the place. You don't know where you're at. They make those signs. But when they leave out, who says, try to get a job at a printer? Who says, let's get your record expunged so you don't have that history dragging you? We send them back out the street and they come back in many times. We need solutions, and putting people in jail with no bright future ahead of them and no support is inhumane.
I appreciate your passion in answering those questions, and I have a feeling I see some familiar faces from last forum, so you may have some additional questions once I open it up. And although we have more questions from the listserv, I want to end here because we have a lot of folks, and I know they have questions to ask. This morning, I'm going to end with this question, let me say that. This morning, a public comment form got put online for SPLOST, not SPLOST, as Tim teaches today on Facebook, SPLOST 2020. The comment form went up today. If you are interested in making any comments for the 88 projects that are listed, they are available at accgov.com/SPLOST 2020. So this is a SPLOST question. The projects, there are 88 of them, have just about all been presented, more are being presented tonight to the SPLOST Citizen Committee. SPLOST Project Administrator Keith Sanders stated the committee only has funding to select and pass forward to our mayor commission one-tenth of the projects that have been submitted. And there are some great projects, I might add. And last week, as early as last week, SPLOST Program Administrator Keith called different departments and or community groups and asked if they would be willing to present an amended SPLOST application, meaning will you take less and still have a successful project, because they want to spread as much as they can around the different projects. Knowing the challenge ahead of the committee, then on to the mayor commission. Do you have any preliminary thoughts on any of the projects, any particular projects of interest before we turn it over to the audience? So SPLOST 2020, not SPLOST question, before we turn it over to the audience.
Thanks for the question, Suki. Thinking about SPLOST, which really is our major capital program in Athens-Clarke County, these are the big dollars that we spend on physical stuff that you can see and feel. The important thing in my mind is to think long range. What can we do through SPLOST that's going to create generational opportunity, whether that be in energy efficiency, in youth development, in housing. Certainly there are some generational realities that are stuck with us from decades past. We've got 1960s era corrugated metal pipes under some of our roads that if you're living in Cedar Creek or near Barber Street, you may have noticed creating sinkholes in front of you as you're driving down the road. And it's just a reality of living in a town that's been built out over decades and centuries. And so some of it is catching up on those things that maybe were implemented that have long outlived their life, but putting in their place things that are going to long outlive us and create this resonance decade after decade.
All right, keep in mind, this SPLOST is going to be for 10 years. So if you guys do not elect me the next term, some other commissioner is going to have to
I'll make sure it works.
And then after that term is over, another commissioner will be in place. So that's how long it is. So hopefully all of us will be up here. But you know, he won't get here. But think about it. That is 10 years. So these are your tax dollars that are going for 10 years. So what I actually went through our 88 proposals, and it's a good read. So if you haven't sung yet, please read it. But it's a good read, and I went through 88, all 88 of them. And my principle, I said, which of these projects is actually going to benefit all of Athens? Which one is going to improve the quality of life for all Athenians? Which one of these projects is actually going to benefit some of the issues we have in Athens, like poverty and water. And those are projects that I would love for the community, because ultimately it's up to you, because at the end of the day, we can put whatever we want on this box. If you guys are going for it, it's nothing. So at the end of the day, it's up to you guys. But, you know, my testament to you guys is to say, look at the problems that we have in Athens. Go through accgov.com/2020. Go through the proposal and figure out which one of the 88 proposals that you find that's most beneficial to you as well as going to benefit the community. So my principle is, and I have it written down, what's going to improve the quality of life for all Athenians, and that's what I'm looking for.
I can't agree more with Commissioner Davenport regarding choice and democracy in this process, but since I have the microphone, I guess I will mention my two personal favorite projects. I'm smiling, but I'm not laughing because climate change is here. In 10 to 12 years, we're going to see mass migrations of people from coastal areas where their homes have been destroyed by climate change-related weather disasters. We're going to see disruptions of our food systems because of weather-related climate change disasters. And our children who are going to Clarke Middle right now in Clarke High, the kids that I was hanging out with at the library earlier today, they're the ones that are going to inherit that problem. Their kids and their kids, if they even get the chance to have kids, frankly. And I think we have to be really aggressive right now about addressing this problem. And addressing this problem now, if you're thinking dollars and cents, will also benefit our community financially. Particularly communities that aren't going to afford to be able to put solar panels on their roofs and make their houses fully energy efficient because they're currently living in poverty or unstable housing conditions. And so, I say all this to say I'm fully supportive of the 100% Athens plan to support some of our capital improvement projects from within the government to help convert our government to clean and renewable energy. I think it's not only a matter of environmental justice, it can also be a matter of economic and racial justice if we focus those dollars justly. Secondly, I had so much fun hanging out at the library with these kids, man. I keep bringing it up because having those spaces, those third spaces outside of their schools for them to gather, to be free to express themselves and hang out, chit-chat, read some books, can be so formative for them to grow up into, like, productive, happy Athenians. And so I also like to express my support for the youth development complex on the east side. Those kids don't really have that space to hang out and talk about who's dating who and pop, bubblegum and read books and develop community together. And that's something I really like to see. But at the end of the day, democracy is the name of the game. So you are my boss. I am your employee, let me know.
It's actually exciting. Patrick gave you a long URL. Athens-Clarke County is a little ahead of the curve. We got the domain SPLOST.com. That shows you right there some staff doing some good work. They're like, oh, SPLOST.com's available. Nobody jumped on that. So SPLOST.com, take it right there. Everything you need. You can see the full list and very important input form. I mean, I'm all about transparency, right? And for me to be fully transparent, I can't sit here and say like, they're all great. They are. I mean, there's tons of great stuff, but I do also have some favorites. Commissioner Parker actually nailed two of mine already also. The Hundreds in Athens, and definitely the East Side Library, something that desperately needs to happen. A couple of other ones, and I also want to speak to Commissioner Davenport talking about like the basic idea of how we're looking at these things. And I agree, it's things that are going to help all of Athens, but also that they think these through in an equitable form. Where is the most need? Where's the most need for these things? That's why we're not going to build another library on Ellis Road or something, right? I mean, we don't need one there, but we do need one on the other side of the county, over on the east side. Some of the other places where I feel like there's that drastic need. Over in my district, Vincent Drive. I don't know how many of y'all have ever driven down Vincent Drive and realized how dangerous the road is. I guarantee you none of y'all have walked down Vincent Drive because you're taking your life into your own hands. I have done that. It was scary. At one point, I actually tried to take a picture of me, like walking, to show how dangerous it was, and then I got scared of getting hit by a car, so I had to stop. There's a park on that road. There is the Holland Youth Sports Complex on the road. A youth sports complex is on that road in a neighborhood that has tons of children living in it, with no safe way at all to get to it. Man, talk about some need, right? And one of the SPLOST projects is to actually expand that youth complex, which I'm all for, as long as we can make sure that the kids who need that sports complex can get there. And just gotta harp on it a little bit, and I'll go the opposite direction maybe I shouldn't do this, but one of the ones I'm not excited about is we were just talking about the inmate labor program. There is a SPLOST proposal to expand that program and to add over 100 more beds to it, so that we can expand that program. So that's one that I'm not excited about.
I think, all right, I hate to, wimp about this, but my two are also the library on the east side. I think that it's been long overdue, and the east side has grown in such a big way. And we need to be able to meet the needs, and now, that's not my district. That's not my district, but I feel as though as commissioners that we need to do the best for Athens, period. And that's where I think a huge need. I did not point out anything on my end of town, because technically there's nothing really big on my end of town that's on that list. So I'm just being honest. So my next biggie is housing. I'm really concerned about affordable housing. I am willing to explore tiny houses. I am willing to explore rezoning for housing. I think that there should not be a veteran homeless in Athens. Not one veteran should be homeless in Athens. In Kansas, they have a model city, a model program of tiny houses for veterans. I hope we can look into things like that. I think if a community is going to be healthy, we will have apartments, we will have public housing, we will have $250,000 houses, we would have affordable housing. I think that we are big enough and we have enough resources to really make this community have a housing program that fits everybody. What fits for you? I get so upset when people say, oh, well, I don't want to live in public housing. Public housing is great for some folk. Some folk need to be there for whatever the reason. But we should not take our personal experiences and think that's the way everybody lives. That's not how it works. So I would love to see housing as a top contender for me, and the library would be my other one. And I think they're all great. Whoever's recording this, I think they're all great. Okay, all of the 88 proposals are great. But those are two that I'll keep my eye on. The other thing, whatever we come up with, we've got SPLOST, capital development and infrastructure. But we've got to make sure we have dollars for them to operate. So we need to start thinking. There may be some other conversations, because just building it and saying they'll come is not going to work. So I would also be looking at how these programs and suggestions are going to be functional. That's going to be very important. So those are my points. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Well, I know some of you are really eager to ask your questions, and we've had a lot of people roll into the room since I gave my instructions. We have about 30 minutes for questions. Question starts with who, what, why, how. Think back to what a question is. One question, not, oh, but I got a second one, or I got a third one. One question per person until we can hear critical mass of people. And then if we don't have that many questions, then I'll come back to you to ask your second or third question. So this time I do want to open up the floor for questions to the Mayor and Commission. Yes.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for all your comments on the issue of
Could you stand up before we get
here.
there?
Your left. I'll walk. There we go. And I just wanted to ask about the difference between the two different facilities, the diversion center and the correctional center on the Farmhouse Road, and why people from the diversion center are paid and not people from the other facility are not paid. Can we get them paid without putting more money into building new prisons?
Mayor Gertz.
So the two populations are two different phases in their continuum toward kind of eventual sort of full release. So the folks who are in the correctional unit, which is separate from the jail again. So the jail is primarily folks who are pre-trial, and then a handful of people who are serving out very short local sentences or who are waiting transfer to a state prison. The correctional facility are folks who've been, for the most part, in a state Department of Corrections prison for some period of time, have moved through some good years, and then kind of have requested movement into a county facility. And so they're state prisoners who are housed in the county. People who are in the diversion center, for the most part, are later in the continuum. So they're very close to release, or they require very little supervision. And so some of them are working every day, some of them are in educational programming or treatment systems. And we've talked about expanding that diversion center opportunity as well to have a more complete transition center, which is what the state terms those places where people are in kind of a halfway house environment, and they're just kind of going to work every day, whether that's at a restaurant, a public facility, or somewhere else.
Answer your question? Oh, nope, just one, I'm sorry. One question, that's all you had. I'm sorry, I'll come back to you. Yes, ma'am?
This is a question for Mayor Gertz. Could you just say a little bit more about the renewable energy plan for Athens? I'd like to know what a little detail.
Sure. Okay, got it. So the question was about renewable energy planning for Athens. So just a week ago, I signed the Sierra Club's 100% renewable pledge, so that by 2035, we'll move the entire community to renewables. And there's been some great work on this already in the last couple of decades. In recent years, Andrew Saunders, who's our sustainability director, has made some big strides forward. We've got a facility that there's a ribbon cutting scheduled on in the next few weeks that's at our waste treatment facility that's off the end of Whit Davis Road. So if you cross Whit Davis Road, beyond Barnett Shoals Road is the driveway to our waste treatment facility there, and there's a solar array that's going to offset more than half the power use for big municipalities. That's one of your heaviest energy users, so that's an enormous step forward. You probably have seen some of the hybrid buses that have been moving around town. And there have been a lot of other similar, either energy saving or renewable kind of activity. What we need to do moving ahead is say, with a drop dead date of 2035, what will get the entire community, the public sector and the private sector alike, to a place where we're not using any consumptive, dirty energy, where we're not having to dig for coal, we're not having to frack for natural gas, we're not having people in other nations mine for uranium, and then have to deal with the waste on the back end. And so that's what we need, is that closed loop energy system. And so I'm meeting with our sustainability director next week to begin to map that out. I'm going to be asking the commission this spring to sign a full commission resolution moving us in that direction as well.
Awesome. And please recycle.
Yeah, I have a follow-up for all the commissioners to that question, and that is that to do with garbage collection in the Athens-Clarke County. Now, the Athens City, old Athens City, has a one garbage collection service. They have two trucks, the garbage and the recycling trucks coming through their neighborhoods. Those of us who live outside the city limits have as many as 5 different garbage trucks coming through our neighborhoods every week. That is both a destruction of our roads, a pollution of our neighborhoods. At one point, there was a resolution, I believe, several years ago, to have those companies bid for exclusive rights per neighbor. What has happened to that? Why can't it happen?
Oh, that.
I didn't plan that question. I did not plan that question. Who would want to tackle that one? Commissioner Davenport?
So that's one of the things I campaigned on, and I've been working with Gwinnett County, who has had this program on zone. Excuse me. So what he's talking about here, right now there's 6 trash haulers, I believe, in Athens-Clarke County, and they can go to all the various neighborhoods throughout Athens-Clarke County. If you would live within the loop, you get free trash services. You get county provided trash services. If you live outside the loop, you got a choice of 6 of the trash hauler. So I've been talking with some of the people in Gwinnett County, and they have that model where they have zones. And I've talked to 2 of the major trash haulers, and they agree with the zone. And here's the reason why they agree with the zone. So if you have 6 trash haulers, I'm trying to be brief, and you're traveling from Newton Bridge Road down to Whit Davis Road down to Timothy Road, it's costly. So some of the big trash haulers, they're like, yes, we want zone neighborhood because it's more efficient for us, it's better for our streets, and it makes people happy because you don't have 5, 6 trucks going down with the babies sleeping. And the problem is, it's twofold. The problem is some of the smaller trash haulers who want to get a big piece of the pie feel that they're going to be neglected and they don't have the capacity to meet the demand. The actual biggest problem is the community. So when I campaign, I'm not going to go and ask people, and a lot of people complain that they like their trash haulers. They know those people. They don't want the government to get involved. So the biggest obstacle of getting zone trash haulers is to just educate the community and just get community support, especially the neighborhood support, to abolish the circle around that these companies are doing now. But if you look at Gwinnett County, it's a win-win situation. It's ridiculous that the gentleman said, who lives in the Veston Street, that we have 6 trash haulers in my neighborhood.
It also contributes to a lot of litter, and there's a litter survey up there that Keep Athens-Clarke County Beautiful is doing right now because we have some major litter issues in the community for the last year and a half. So anyway, I got to put that plug in there. Sorry, Commissioner Vincent.
Look at that plug, man. That was good. So I also live just outside of the service district for the old city. Literally, like a block. People on the other side of the block get trash service from the county. I cannot. And it's something that I've been following closely, and I mean, honestly, what I would love to see is to have. I've lived in the city, I've had county service, I've had private service from 2 different private haulers. Best service I ever got, not just trying to kiss up the zookeeper, the best service I ever got was from the county service, guaranteed. So I would love to see just the county providing to the entire county. But to back up what Commissioner Davenport said, I did a survey for people in my district and had just under 200 people filled out. One of the questions on there was, would you like to change the system and go towards a system like this where we had just one hauler, because I've never heard a lot of these complaints. It was extremely mixed, just like Patrick was saying. About 50% said they would like to, about 50% said, don't mess with me, I want to keep the hauler I want. But there are bigger problems. Just yesterday I had to send a message to somebody that I saw on Facebook. They said, I decided I'm going to save some money. I'm not buying as much packaging stuff for my food. I'm recycling more, so I don't have as much trash. So I'm not going to have trash service anymore. I'm going to burn my trash instead. And I was like, hold on. You can't burn your trash. So definitely, I think a big part of this is just education and trying to find better ways that we can work. Because I hear it. I have roads. I've seen those potholes. You said 5. That's actually sounding a little bit low. I heard somebody told me they have 7 trucks that come down, or 8 trucks, like 4 garbage trucks, 4 recycling trucks, or 4 different haulers. So it's definitely something we need to take on.
Excellent. Oh, way in the back. You're going to make me work for this one. All right, come in.
Mayor Kurtz, you have the power to set the agenda of the City Council, and you City Councilors have the power to pass city ordinances, and I think together you have the power to hire and fire city managers and some city administrators. How can and how will you use these powers creatively to put an end to unpaid labor by jail and prison inmates in Athens-Clarke County?
We can make it known. Anytime we have a work session where plans or projects are brought to us that we ask who will be building, and they respond, you already know who, we can say no, right then and there. We don't take direct action at these meetings, there's no voting done, but we can make it known that it's our will as a commission to change the way our system is working, and that they need to bring us back a new budget and a new plan to move forward. I've seen it happen before, but not creatively enough on issues like these. And I want to also commit to doing so.
And outside of that, we also have, of course, the final vote on the budget. And a lot of these things are brought up in the budget. I mean, we have departments being budgeted on how much inmate labor they're going to have. And this actually goes back to my first remarks here about there's going to be some sacrifices that we're going to have to make if we want to actually stand on these better values and make it better Athens. Because you know what? We're not going to be able to do either. We can't do quite as much as a county, or we're going to have taxes come up or revenues to go up to pay for the same amount of services. Because right now we're relying on a number of people who don't get paid anything, so it's really cheap. But I think that's one of those creative ways that we can say. I mean, I right now I will say I am not going to vote for any policy or budget that is relying upon inmate labor. It's immoral. It's not the way I was raised. I think every single one of us in this building, deep down, knows that it's wrong. So I only think we have to get that creative about it.
Another go back.
Mr. Denson, your opening statement, which you just referred to again, it seems like to me that you're implying that we're going to have higher property taxes on our houses. Is that to implement all that you want to do? Is that going to be necessary?
It's not necessarily me, but there might have to be some sacrifices made of some sort. That could be a multitude of things, different fees might have to go up, stuff like that. I will say, if we have a budget that's really reliant upon it, then I could support that, but that's not what I'm advocating for now. We had to have some discussion over our budget talks about having possibly a mill increase that would have money go directly towards fighting poverty, or 30% poverty rate here. So I think there will be some discussion about that, but I'm not adhering to any mill increase or anything right now at this time.
From the back.
We'll just pass it down.
On a similar note, I'm a business owner here in Athens, and I'm a high wage earner, and I hope you won't scowl at me for being that. The thought of these changes are going to come on the backs of the higher wage earners. And is Athens still for me, or do I need to look elsewhere?
Well, I hope you don't look elsewhere, because we need you. We definitely need you. What I'm saying, I don't know about everybody else, we need everybody to be involved in Athens. I can't believe that you're comfortable with it as a business owner and a high wage person with 30+% poverty. I just can't believe that. So what I'm saying is that this is conversation time and action time, but we don't need you to move, okay? We don't need a poverty.
What's in it for me?
For you personally, we need you, and that's my point. But we want everybody to be business owners and high wage earners, that's all. And so we do need to look at that. But this is, we've never discussed it before. We just have been kicking the can down the road. Have you had this discussion with anybody about high wage earners and business people with the average person?
I don't disagree with any of the policies that you guys have mentioned today. Just have not heard anything that applies to anybody that makes a decent wage.
And that is because we answered the questions that were directed to us. So now I'm trying to answer yours by saying that no, you don't have to look anywhere else. This is a community for everybody. We just got to figure out how everybody fits in. Please don't leave, okay?
Thank you.
I think one of the things I want to mention to you, sir, pertains to something I mentioned in my opening comments, that one of the things that I think we're going to be striving toward is a continuum of opportunity from birth through adulthood. That's going to mean that we've got more prepared prospective employees, more high-wage earners who are going to be customers, more people who are going to be even more committed neighbors. And that's why I think everybody in this room is going to benefit from years ahead. Because we're going to have a more vibrant city, a city that's better prepared every day, a city that interacts with each other even more strongly, an improved business climate, and a more beautiful place. The kind of place where I think everybody nationwide is going to look and think, why haven't I moved there yet?
Another question from the back, and over here. You're right, I should just stay back here.
Topic. This is a question that I think applies both to our quest for renewable energy, whatever that is called, and also about the litter problems with the garbage pickup outside of the county. I live in a neighborhood where there's at least 5 different pickup people coming and getting garbage. There's one in particular that never comes and picks up garbage. That, whether it's recycled or garbage, sits out on the curb until the following Monday before anyone picks it up. And that is the problem because the litter, the wind blows, so everything, it all goes down the street. So I do question whether or not we're really going to do something about that. And the other question I have, and I'm squeezing into, is whether or not you all have considered composting as a way of
all waste reduction.
All waste reduction.
We'll leave it in there. That's a good question.
Biased moderator. Sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, composting. So to answer your question, government is slow to get one trash hauler into community approved probably within a year. Hopefully sooner, but 100% yes. Everybody compost. Please compost. Compost. Quit throwing it in the trash. Compost it. So in the future I'll be working with Suki and we'll be working on the project. I forget the name of the company, but I'm getting friends with Let Us Compost.
New urban forestry?
Yeah, new urban forestry. We had a couple of meetings about how to incorporate compost within our community. I'm really trying to, so for me personally, because I really like composting. Our biggest thing right now is just getting the public housing to actually recycle. So that's a big issue where people are just throwing compostable and recyclable materials into the landfill. So yes, I agree that eventually we'll get to composting, but we gotta solve the issue of recycling first. I'm definitely open to options of fast tracking compost and recycling. And when it comes to that trash hauler who is not doing his job, we can revoke his license to do business in that. And I'm ready for it.
And something that you can also call our office. We do need to lodge the complaint. So I know it's odd for you to call solid waste when I am not your hauler, clearly. If you could call our office, we do log every complaint that people have against the private haulers. Sorry to interject, but I wanted to give her an option to make sure you call the solid waste department. Commissioner Denson.
And on that, one of the things that I would like to see us start exploring is a discount possibly on your solid waste fee or your water bill fee if you can prove that you have signed up with a composting service or you've taken a composting class through like a cooperative extension, something like that. You can actually prove that you're like a certified composter. Proudly say my compost fence is in my backyard right now. I have one right here at the Federation of Neighborhoods meeting. I've been using it ever since.
Commissioner Horton. I was listening about the trash pickup, but I can tell you since I have become a commissioner, I am much more conscious about recycling and compost. From the meetings that I've been going to and meeting people, it's almost like you gotta educate people. You cannot assume that folk get this. And I think it's even more important, or just as important, what Commissioner Parker said about renewable energy, about the kids and their kids coming up. We need to let this be a curriculum in our schools. Many of us are not exposed to compost and recycling. It's not a sin. We're not going to go to hell, but we're going to let this earth burn up and be destroyed by not knowing. So I personally have become much more aware and much appreciate the renewable energy conversations that I'm hearing, and I do support.
Thank you. His hand up for.
So it seems like there's some confusion about what the real economic effects will be when people who have nothing suddenly have something to spend, and what the implications are for the wider community. So maybe you could go into that yourselves, anybody who knows something about what the effects are.
Could you repeat your question?
Could you clarify for the audience what actually happens in the local economy when the poorest people have more resources at their disposal?
Yes.
They also get paid.
I'm not trying to take over my but so me, a guy named Matthew Everson, and a other lady named Linda Lloyd started a cooperative called Peach Green Clean Homes and all this stuff. In our bylaws, we have it written that you have to be 80% at the poverty line, or I don't know the exact language. But we only hire poor people, and as a person who was in that position, so when you don't have any money, unfortunately, I had to live with my mom and my dad. I circumvented, that's what I wrote, but I went around the bush and hang out with my friends so I could eat. I had to borrow a car, and I didn't get to do so much in the community. Same thing that happened to most of, well, actually all except two, the Peachy Green Clean Co-op people. They were living in their relatives' homes, they were on food stamps, they didn't have cars, they didn't have their own place of residence, and they didn't shop. consider the fact that we have a lot of restaurants, we have a lot of entertainment. If you put money, even $1 extra in somebody's paycheck, will make a world of difference in what they do with that. At our mayor commission retreat, I said Peachy Green is the Disney World for low-wage workers. Because every employee, for some reason, except me, are now going to Disney World. I can't believe this. Consider the fact that if you don't have anything, you can't do much. Consider when you have a family and a kid, and a husband or wife, and you're cooking your meals, but when you have extra money, you're going to IHOP. That's money that's going to the economy. You can actually afford a tutor. That's money going to somebody else's pocket. You're actually, like Peachy Greeners, they're buying houses, they're getting apartments. That's money going into the community. So when you increase, if you take somebody out of poverty, it affects us all. It improves the economy, it improves the quality of life, even to the high service. It improves the quality of life. And then consider the fact that if you have a lot of poor people, that means a lot of good people like us are donating to these nonprofits. So if we get all these people out of poverty, increase our economy, increase the tax base, we do more money, we have more money to provide better services. But the key thing is the quality of life. When your child is poor, when your husband or wife is struggling to eat, they're going to struggle at work, they're going to struggle with depression, they're going to struggle with their quality of life. When you get them the extra money, when you get them the income that is sustain themselves, they're going to the parks, they're going out, they're happy, they're smiling, their hair's not falling. So. Yeah.
And basically, going back to that previous question about this, I think it's how does us focusing on services and economic development for low wealth individuals help everyone? I think having an environment that's healthy for everyone is going to benefit every single person. That's one easy part. But we also look at other services that I definitely talked about, like having a fair, free public transit system. Well, there is actual proof that you can look at that shows that every dollar invested in public transit systems in a city actually gives $4 of economic development. Because you're helping people be able to get to new educational opportunities, get to better jobs that are also better wage pay. Which, of course, then they take that money and put it back into the economy, it circulates and gets back to you. And of course, the big easy answer is we all are happy and benefit more when the people next to us are happy and benefiting. And I don't think we can ever overestimate the importance of just making sure that the person next to you is being cared for. And I'll be honest, that is my priority. It is. I am definitely not going to come after higher wage earners. I'm going to work with you, and hopefully you're working with me. We need to make sure that this community works for every single person. And if we have a 38% poverty rate, we're the 8th highest county for income inequality. That's a problem. And none of us should be okay with it, no matter how much money we have.
Yeah.
That was actually just my platform in a nutshell, to deal with 38% poverty rate. That's all. And I think that when we see the smallest loads rise, all the big ones are going to rise too. It is not going to take away from nobody. That's not the intent of my platform. I think that when we see our emergency rooms treating people, we pick it up. We're going to pay for it one way or the other. We're going to pay for it. We're either going to pay for it on the front end, when folks go into the hospitals and our taxes or bills rise up, or we're going to pay in building more jails. I would rather use our money and help people to use their money in measures that's going to lift everybody up, because you're going to pay for it. And I think on the front end, the best story or the best thing that I remember is Marissa Joyner, who I met in Bethlehem. She was a rising star. She started at Bethlehem as a leader, ended up working for the land trust, ended up getting a house, got a job at Advantage, and she died. She died because she had a heart condition and did not have the coverage or could not be in line for a heart transplant. We pay for that kind of stuff. So we should pay for it on the front end or we pay it on the back end, but we will pay.
I have one more question. You guys mind answering, even though we're right up against 9 o'clock? And then I'll let you guys wrap up. And if you guys have a burning question, you might be able to catch one of them as they run out the door. There'll be one more question. Yes, ma'am.
This is a quick one. I'm a big fan of Charles, the recycling center. I may be one of the best customers of Charles, and I'm lucky to live near. Is there any possibility of having another location on the east side or farther out? Because I think a lot of people won't take the drive in to recycle their little white tub things. But Sean is a wonderful service that I'm grateful for.
I really I did not know what you were asking until I asked the question, so yeah, if anybody want to jump in.
June, I feel similarly about the charm. Every time I have something that I bought for my son and it comes in that foam pack, it ends up in the back of my car, and then when I've got so much that I can't fit anything else in there, I roll on over the charm. And I know that some of the items that are accepted at the charm are also accepted at the landfill, but I'd love to see a full array of services geographically distributed.
Everybody agree?
I love that. Of course, I just want to thank our panelists tonight. So I was going to let them have just a final word of Mayor Gertz. Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to give you a thank you, and then I'll let you guys have the final word so they don't have to hear from me again. But remember, our next forum will be March 18th, so stay tuned on Facebook or on our website for more information. And I want to thank Mayor Gertz, Commissioner Davenport, Commissioner Parker, Commissioner Denson, and Commissioner Thornton. And I'll give you guys any final, if you want to impart any knowledge before this crowd gives away.
I just want to thank you for coming out tonight. You were really on the front end of a more vibrant, a more sustainable Athens-Clarke County with a stronger economy and a more equitable community that I think is going to be one that communities nationwide are on the front. And you're part of that.
I'm Pastor Davenport. And you guys, I do not consider myself a politician. Sometimes I speak up, but oftentimes I speak off the cuff. I like to tell you straight. Please, I do not bite. I'm a humble person. Come talk to me. My phone number is 706-202-4339. Call me at 9 o'clock. The phone will be off and I will be going to bed. But I'm an everyday person. I'm not a politician. I'm concerned about this community. I'm concerned about the people. I just want us to work together and build a better Athens. That was my slogan. I'm sticking to it. That's right.
I just want to thank you all for being here tonight. I really love learning, and I really want to learn from you all. I really want to keep this conversation going, so don't forget I'm here for you.
I also want to thank everybody and thank Diversion Neighborhoods for this opportunity. I know at times people might not agree with me, and that's fine, but I'll guarantee you this, I will give you the benefit of the doubt and I'll listen to you. We might be on completely different sides on these things. My telephone number, this phone right here, 706-372-0681. You can also go to timdenson.com, get my email, get my telephone number on there. I'll meet with you, it doesn't matter where you're on the political spectrum, we'll talk, we might disagree, but I'll hear you out, and that's the way I want to operate. I appreciate it.
I want to thank all of you for coming out. I'm sure there were a lot of other things you could have done tonight, and I appreciate it. This is everybody thinks because I was on the school board for 16 years that this was going to be a cakewalk for me. I am struggling, but I am learning, and even though it's a different thing, I haven't changed. I'm still the same old Vita that really cares about this community. And I'm the same way. Just call me. You don't have to, go through all that red tape. But thank you. And if you ever want to see about that, other side of Athens, there's another side, let me know, I'll take you on a tour.